These 7 behaviors quietly teach people your worth. And the truth is, people are always watching. Not what you say, what you do. Because words can sound strong, but behavior is proof. See, a lot of people sit around wondering why they're not respected, why they're taken for granted, why they feel invisible in their own relationships. But nobody ever told them this. Your value is not announced, it's demonstrated. The first behavior is simple, but powerful. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. And that right there is where most people lose their power. Because they think if they just say it one more time, if they just find the perfect words, if they just explain it a little better, then maybe they'll finally be understood. But let me tell you something, people who want to understand you don't need 10 explanations. And people who don't want to understand you won't. No matter how many times you try. You don't argue to be heard by someone who already decided not to listen. That's a losing battle. That's like pouring water into a cup with a hole in it. You keep giving and nothing stays. And the more you talk, the more you try to prove your point, the more you slowly give away your confidence. Because now, instead of standing in your truth, you're chasing validation. See, strong people don't feel the need to over-explain. They say what they mean what they say, and they stand on it. Calm, clear, unshaken. They don't raise their voice to be respected, and they don't repeat themselves to be understood. Why? Because they know their worth is not up for debate. When you keep explaining yourself over and over, you're not clarifying, you're negotiating your worth. You're sending a message without even realizing it that your truth needs approval, that your feelings need permission. And the moment you start doing that, people will start treating your boundaries like suggestions instead of standards. But when you shift, when you speak once, clearly, respectfully, and then you move with it, that's when everything changes. There's a quiet power in that. No drama, no begging, no chasing, just certainty. And here's the truth most people don't want to accept. Closure doesn't always come from the other person understanding you. Sometimes closure comes from you accepting that they never will. And that's okay. Not everyone is meant to see your heart, your intentions, or your value. So you stop exhausting yourself trying to be understood by people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You protect your peace, you protect your energy, and most importantly, you protect your self-respect. Because the moment you realize you don't need to explain your worth is the moment people start recognizing it without you saying a word. Second, you learn how to say no without guilt. And for a lot of people, that's one of the hardest lessons to learn. Because somewhere along the way, you were taught that saying no makes you selfish, that it makes you rude, that it disappoints people. So you start saying yes to everything, even when it costs you your time, your energy, and your peace. But let me tell you something, that little word no, it changes everything. Because every time you say yes to something that drains you, disrespects you, or goes against your peace, you're silently telling people, my needs don't matter as much as yours. And people will believe that, not because they're bad, but because you showed them that's the standard. You say yes when you're tired, yes when you don't feel like it, yes when it's inconvenient. And over time, that yes starts to feel heavy. It turns into resentment. It turns into frustration. Because deep down, you know you're betraying yourself just to keep others comfortable. But the moment you start saying no with confidence, without long explanations, without trying to soften it so nobody gets upset, that's when your life begins to shift. Because a real boundary doesn't come with a paragraph. It doesn't come with guilt or apologies. It's clear, it's calm, it's firm. You don't owe everyone access to your time. You don't owe everyone your energy. And you definitely don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. Now is a complete sentence. You can say it with respect, you can say it with kindness, but you still say it with strength. And here's what's going to happen when you start doing that. Some people won't like it. Some people will question you. Some people might even try to make you feel bad for it. But that reaction right there, that's not your problem. That's their entitlement being challenged. Because the truth is, the people who only value you when you're always available don't value you, they value your availability. When you say no, you're not pushing people away, you're teaching them how to treat you. You're showing them that your time is valuable, your energy is limited, and your peace is non-negotiable. And the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. That guilt starts to fade. that fear starts to disappear. And what replaces it is something powerful, self-respect. Because at the end of the day, every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to yourself. Third, you stop chasing people who are comfortable losing you. And this one right here, this is where your self-respect gets tested the most. Because when you care about someone, when you've invested your time, your energy, your emotions, walking away doesn't feel natural. It feels painful. It feels confusing. So instead of stepping back, you lean in harder. You text more. You call more. You try to fix what they're not even trying to hold together. But let me tell you something. If someone can go days, weeks, treating you like you don't matter, like your presence or absence doesn't change anything in their life, and you're the only one trying to fix it, trying to understand it, trying to keep it alive, you're not in a relationship, you're in a one-sided attachment. And that's a lonely place to be. Because real relationships don't require you to chase. They don't leave you questioning your worth or overthinking your value. When someone truly values you, you don't have to convince them to show up. Effort becomes natural, not forced. Communication becomes consistent, not occasional. And respect becomes standard, not something you have to beg for. See, chasing creates an imbalance. The more you run after someone, the more they get used to standing still. The more you try to prove your importance, the more they take your presence for granted. And without realizing it, you start shrinking yourself just to fit into a space where you're barely being appreciated. But the moment you step back, the moment you stop calling, stop texting first, stop trying to hold everything together, that's when the truth reveals itself. Because now there's space, now there's silence. And in that silence, people show you exactly where you stand in their life. They either step up or they step out. And here's the powerful part, either way you win. If they step up, now you have clarity that they do care, that they were capable all along. And if they step out, then you're no longer wasting your time, your energy, and your heart on someone who was never truly there for you. Because the truth is, you should never have to chase someone to remind them of your value. The right people won't need that reminder. They'll recognize it, appreciate it, and match it. So you stop running, you stop forcing, you stop chasing, and you start choosing yourself. Because the moment you stop chasing people who are comfortable losing you is the moment you stop losing yourself trying to keep them. Fourth, you protect your time like it's your life, because it is. See, time is the one thing you can never get back. You can lose money and earn it again. You can lose opportunities and create new ones. But once time is gone, it's gone. And yet so many people give it away like it has no value. Saying yes to things they don't even want to do, showing up for people who don't show up for them, and putting their own priorities on hold just to keep everyone else comfortable. You don't overextend yourself trying to please everybody. That habit right there will drain you. Because the truth is, the more you try to be everything for everyone, the less you become for yourself. You start stretching yourself so thin that by the end of the day, there's nothing left for your own goals, your own peace, your own growth. And let's be real, you don't drop your priorities just to be available for people who wouldn't do the same for you. That's where the shift happens. Because when you constantly rearrange your life for others who wouldn't even adjust an hour for you, you're sending a message that your time is less important. And people will treat it that way. But when you start protecting your time, everything changes. You become more intentional. You become more selective. You stop saying yes out of habit and start saying yes with purpose. You ask yourself, does this align with my goals? Does this respect my energy? Is this worth my time? And if the answer is no, you don't hesitate to walk away. See, protecting your time doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you start caring about yourself just as much. It means you understand that your time is an investment and you choose carefully where you spend it. Because every hour you give away is a piece of your life. And here's the powerful part. When you treat your time as valuable, others will too. People notice when you're not always available. They notice when you have standards, when you have structure, when you respect your own schedule. And that respect you show yourself. It teaches others how to respect you. So you stop overcommitting. You stop rushing to please. You stop putting yourself last. And you start living with intention. Because when you truly understand the value of your time, you stop giving it to people, places, and things that don't value you back. Fifth, You walk away from disrespect the first time, not the 10th. And this is where a lot of people confuse loyalty with self-betrayal, because they think staying enduring, giving chance after chance, makes them strong, makes them patient, makes them loving. But let me tell you something, there is nothing strong about allowing someone to keep crossing your boundaries while you keep lowering them. Not after the second warning, not after the fifth apology, the first time, because the first time someone disrespects you, they're not just showing you who they are, they're testing what you're willing to tolerate. And if you ignore it, excuse it, or brush it off like it's no big deal, you're silently telling them, it's okay. You can do that again, and trust me, they will. See, people don't suddenly change after 10 chances. What they do is get comfortable. Comfortable knowing that no matter what they say, no matter what they do, you're still going to be there. And that comfort, it breeds more disrespect, not less. Now don't get it twisted. Walking away doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you're cold or heartless. It means you care enough about yourself to say, I deserve better than this. It means you understand that respect is not something you beg for. It's something you require. Because staying after repeated disrespect doesn't make you patient, it makes you available for more of the same. It creates a cycle where they hurt you, apologize, and then do it again. And every time you stay, that cycle gets stronger. But the moment you break it, the moment you say, this is where it stops, everything changes. Not just for them, but for you. Because now you're no longer operating from fear of losing them. You're operating from confidence in yourself. And here's the truth a lot of people avoid. Walking away is hard. It's uncomfortable. It might even feel like loss. But what's harder is staying in a place where you're constantly being disrespected, slowly losing yourself, worth piece by piece. So you pay attention the first time. You don't ignore the signs. You don't romanticize the red flags. You see them for what they are, and you act accordingly. Because the moment you start walking away from disrespect early is the moment people realize they can't afford to treat you carelessly. Sixth, you stop seeking validation from people who can't even validate themselves. And this right here is a game changer, because a lot of people don't even realize how much of their life is controlled by other people's opinions. They wait for approval before they move. They look for reassurance before they decide. They measure their worth based on how others respond to them. But let me tell you something, if someone is confused about their own life, inconsistent in their own behavior, and insecure in their own identity, what makes you think they're qualified to define yours? You don't need approval from someone who doesn't even approve of themselves. That's like asking someone for directions when they're lost too. All you're going to get is more confusion, more doubt, and more second-guessing. See, when you constantly look for validation, you start handing your power away piece by piece. You start shaping yourself to fit other people's expectations. You dim your light so you can be accepted. You question your decisions because someone else doesn't understand them. And before you know it, you're living a life that looks good to others, but doesn't feel right to you. But when you know who you are, really know, you move differently. You don't need constant reassurance. You don't need applause for every step you take. You don't need someone to tell you that you're enough, because you already decided that for yourself. That kind of confidence, it's quiet, but it's powerful. It doesn't beg for attention, and it doesn't chase approval. It stands on its own, and people can feel it. That energy speaks louder than anything you could ever say. Now, that doesn't mean you stop listening to advice or learning from others. It means you stop depending on them to define you. You take what aligns and you leave what doesn't. You trust your own judgment. You trust your own path. And here's the truth. When you stop seeking validation, some people won't know how to deal with you anymore, because they were used to controlling how you feel about yourself. They were used to you needing them. But now, you stand on your own, and that changes everything. Because the moment you stop asking, do they approve of me? And start saying, I approve of myself, is the moment you become unstoppable. And the seventh behavior, you choose yourself. And let's be clear, this is not about becoming selfish, cold, or disconnected from others. This is about becoming aligned with yourself. Because for so long, a lot of people have been choosing everyone else first, putting others' needs ahead of their own, sacrificing their peace just to maintain relationships, staying in situations that slowly break them down, all in the name of love. loyalty, or fear of being alone. But there comes a moment when you realize something has to change, and that change begins the day you choose yourself, not out of ego, but out of necessity. You choose your peace over chaos. That means you stop entertaining drama, arguments, and situations that constantly disturb your mind. You don't feel the need to react to everything anymore. You don't engage in every conflict. You learn that protecting your peace is more important than proving a point. You choose your growth over comfort. And that's not easy because growth will stretch you. It will push you out of familiar spaces. It will require discipline, patience, and sometimes walking alone. But you understand that staying comfortable in places that don't challenge you will keep you stuck. So you take the risk. You move forward, even when it's uncomfortable, because you know that's where your next level is waiting. You choose yourself, respect over temporary attention. And this one is powerful, because a lot of people settle for moments, short-term validation, inconsistent affection, empty words, just to feel wanted. But when you truly choose yourself, you stop accepting anything that compromises your dignity. You don't entertain half-hearted effort. You don't accept being an option. You require consistency, honesty, and respect because you give that to yourself first. And here's the truth. At the end of the day, the way you treat yourself is the standard everyone else will follow. If you tolerate being overlooked, people will overlook you. If you accept being disrespected, people will disrespect you. But when you carry yourself with confidence, when you honor your boundaries, when you value your own presence, people notice. Choosing yourself is not a one-time decision. It's something you do daily, in your choices, in your habits, in what you allow and what you walk away from. And yes, some people may not understand it. Some may even walk away. But the ones who truly value you, they'll rise to meet that standard. Because the moment you truly choose yourself is the moment you stop settling for anything less than what you deserve. So at the end of all this, it comes down to one simple truth. Your worth is not something you beg people to see. It's something you show them by how you live. In your silence, in your boundaries, in your decisions, in what you tolerate and what you refuse to accept. That's where your value speaks the loudest. These 7 behaviors aren't loud. They're not about proving anything to anyone. They're quiet, consistent, and powerful. And that's exactly why they work. Because when you stop over-explaining, when you start saying no, when you stop chasing, when you protect your time, when you walk away from disrespect, when you validate yourself, and when you choose yourself, you shift the way people see you. But more importantly, you shift the way you see yourself. And once that happens, everything changes. You stop settling. You stop questioning. You stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You stand firm. You move with confidence. You carry a presence that doesn't need approval because it's built on self-respect. Remember this, people learn how to treat you by watching how you treat yourself. So if you want respect, if you want value, if you want to be seen, don't chase it. Become it. And when you do, the right people won't just notice. You won't have to ask them to.